Right, folks, we're with Noel French, Councillor from Trim, and welcome, Noel. Thanks very much for taking the time to have a chat with me and hopefully give people a better insight into well, I suppose, a famous Noel French.
Oh, famous, my eye. Go on.
Talking to different candidates, there's different questions, different, some are older, some are younger. And thinking about what I was going to talk to you about was, obviously you're very active on Facebook. How long are you in politics now? No.
I'm in, directly in politics, I'm 13 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
And, you have, I've been following you and, watching what you were doing over the last couple of years and whatnot. You've achieved a lot of stuff, from what I can see,
Oh, I've achieved, I don't know, I've achieved some things. My biggest kick is actually helping people with the smaller things. I have helped communities, I've helped groups get things, absolutely things that were badly needed for the community. But the biggest kick I get is helping people navigate the bureaucracy, either at a county council level or at a national level. I went to a door yesterday and the man came out and he says, "You're the man." I says, why am I the man? He says, my son was trying to get a passport and he had to go to a funeral in America, and you're the man that got it for me. I wasn't really the man that got it for him, but I knew somebody who could help me help him.
Yeah. And
it's things like that.
Yeah.
Things like that, small things, somebody's getting flooded into their driveway or whatever. If I can solve that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's a big thing. As you said there, I remember years ago where we had trouble getting it. Just some small thing like a passport or whatever it is. But there was a funeral where somebody had to come and that same thing happened with one of the local politicians around here. And having the access to somebody like you and being familiar with somebody like you is a great benefit, I think, to all the local people. That they feel comfortable to come to you and say, "No, can you do this for me?"
Absolutely, but I wish more people would come to me. I do. I absolutely do. That's what my job is, and I never make any promises. Because I can't make promises, because I have to go and ask somebody else for stuff.
Yeah.
I can give a person an indication, well, that might happen, or it might not, or that might take 6 months, or that might never happen. But all I ever promise is I try, and I go, and I try, and the other promise I make is I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
And I'll come back to you with good news or bad news.
Yeah.
And if I come back to you with bad news, I'll come back to you and explain to you why that thing can't happen.
Yeah.
Now, that's not me saying it. That's somebody telling me why it can't happen. And I'm simply passing on the message. So a lot of difficulty arises when people make promises that I'll get that done for you, and then they go and they find out they can't do it. And then they stop answering the phone. I'm not like that. I come back, and if it's bad news, it's an answer, and it's a good answer for the person, because they can draw a line under it. Then they can say, well, that's never going to happen because Noel French has got this response, and why it won't happen, he gave me the reasons. I might not agree with the reasons, Noel French might not agree with the reasons, but that's the reasons we're getting. So they can draw a line under it and say, well, rather than constantly going on for years and saying, why doesn't this happen? So absolutely, I wish people would contact me much more often. That's what I'm there for.
Is that type of thing, would you ever be in a situation where you'd be overwhelmed with requests?
No. No, I have never been, and in fact, when I first got elected, and spoke to other new councillors and or existing councillors, and I was shocked at how much work they were doing, how many people were contacting them. Again, I work with the council. There is no point in me going into the council and demanding. I go in, I ask. I get 60 to 70% of stuff I ask for. 60, 70%, that's pretty good.
Yeah. At this stage, you're more than used to dealing with the council and liaising with them, and I'm sure you know the characters that can implement things.
Yeah, I spent a long number of years reporting on council meetings, and I said I'd never be a councillor. And I don't think I'd ever want to be a politician, whatever a politician is. But most of the council are excellent to work for, excellent to work with. But they have their rules and their systems as well, and there is no good me saying, well, I think this is what should be done. This makes complete and utter sense to me. But if an engineer who has qualifications, or a heritage officer or a conservation officer has a different opinion, there is really no point in me going up against them, even though it says things common sense. And I know there are a few, not very many, but examples where common sense didn't work with the county council. But the vast majority of the work that the county council does is very good, very, very good.
Yeah. Out our way, we're living along with there, and like the roads are quite bad because there's a lot of kind of construction traffic in our area. Having said that, I come from a construction background, so I can see where they come out and mended the roads, and in a couple of months' time, it's decaying as well. From like I look at it from their point of view and from my point of view, and for the general part, I'd like to say that they're making a good effort at doing it. Do you know what I mean?
There is a balance. There is a balance to be there. I know the road you're speaking of.
But the problem is what?
The problem is
you know what I mean. One of the main problems is the amount of water that's coming.
Well, at the moment, yes, because we have so much potholes, and like we haven't had potholes like this since with 5 or 6 years. Being completely honest, but the road you're speaking of, they were never designed for the size of trucks that they're on, that are taking them now. And I know that road in particular, and the council this year, after 2 or 3 years of me shouting at them, they are going to resurface and restore that road. But there's a balance to be kept there, because don't forget, these quarries create employment.
Exactly.
And they're necessary too. So you have to balance, and I sometimes have to balance these things up. But that said, basically, if somebody comes into me and they have a problem, I'm on their side. And I work from them, and if they have a problem with whatever, I will take their point of view and I will go with that way. Now, whether usually I would believe what they're saying to me.
Take it on face value, anyway.
I take it on face value, and I don't think I've, the vast majority of people that come to me, and I really do mean the vast majority, are genuine people. They have a problem and a difficulty. And going back to what you're saying, I wish before these problems arose or became bigger, that they would come to me and I could try and solve them, rather than it reaching a crisis point for people, so that it gets so bad. So I would rather do it.
People's heads are, tormented at that stage.
They're tormented at that stage, and that's the other thing. They are tormented, and very often the only thing I can do is just listen to them. But the fact that I listen to them and I respect their point of view, and I see where they're coming from, that can be of huge benefit to them, even if I can't get them to think that somebody else recognises that there is a difficulty there,
Yeah.
and that they are right to have their opinion.
Yeah.
You know?
What are you getting? When did you start? I met you on the road there a while ago when you were canvassing or dropping leaflets there out in Killeen. How long ago did you start?
When I got elected. Absolutely. My campaign starts. My campaign starts as soon as I get elected, and I am. It is a focus for me from once I get elected. I am working for the people, but I also need to be elected in order to work for the people. So I enjoy it. It is work, it is work that I enjoy. But yes, I think the campaign starts from
when you're elected.
Yeah.
Just to kind of conclude, Noel, is there any things you'd like to talk about?
Nothing in particular, really. I would. Yeah, you've asked me about my views on a lot of things, and really, I would have my own personal views on things, but I would be totally respectful of other people's views, and even extreme views, provided they're not going to shove it down my throat. So I think we have to respect all viewpoints out there, because people have their own reasonings, and it's not for me to say that their reasonings is wrong and my reasoning is right. So what would I say to anything? I suppose I'm on the ordinary person's side, and I will help people navigate, get through the system. The system is there. Very often people are at their lowest when they come to me, because they need something, and sometimes it is life-changing, the stuff they need, and they are probably at their lowest ebb, and sometimes I have to say to them, you have to keep going. You have to do this, you have to push this, you have to go here. So I'm asking more of them when they're at their lowest ebb, but I have to ask them to do that, because otherwise I can't do it for them. So they have to make some effort themselves as well, because that's the way the system works. I can't go in and get somebody to do something for somebody. So I would appeal to people to contact me if they have any difficulties. I can handle the local ones because I work at the county council. I can handle some of the national ones as well, but there are some things I can't do anything about. And
well, as you said earlier on, you're straight with people, and if you if they ask you a question, or they come to you with some sort of a problem, whatever it is, you'll always get back to them. And you're not afraid to tell them if it's not the answer they want to hear, but you will get back to them with an answer. And I think that's very important, as opposed to a lot of people might just, just not answer the phone there, but that, no.
And the other thing is, a lot of the times I'll tell people, you may have to come back to me again and again and again, and people will say, I don't want to be annoying you, I'll be a pain for you. I would say, no, it's not. I need to be reminded of it, because I have to go and then remind somebody in the system that this problem has not been solved, because I get a lot of different queries, so that I deal with them immediately. as soon as I can, so I don't let things boil over. So if somebody comes to me with a problem, they can be sure that I'm going to try and deal with it as quickly and efficiently as possible. But sometimes these problems take time. Sometimes it takes a campaign for, extra parking or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not something that the council are going to immediately say yes to. It may take a couple of years or more to achieve. As we were talking about earlier about the library in St. Kenneth's, 12 years I was at that. So the system can be frustrating. The system can be slow. The part of that is its effort to be right, and to take everybody's point of view into consideration. And sometimes that frustrates me, because I can see that if you make a change, 98% of people will be happy with it, but the system doesn't like the 2% that will be against it.
No, I'll wrap things up there. It was a pleasure talking to you. And I think people will get a great insight into you and what you're about, and it was.
Oh God, I hope I hope not. I actually managed to go through a lot of my council meetings without saying a word. I think I'm an okay talker. I think I'm able to put cases together verbally, but I'd rather work than talk.
Okay, well listen, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
And much appreciate you coming in.
You're welcome.
And I hope people get, I think people will take a good bit from this conversation and get a better insight into yourself,
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.